The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some independent OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. In addition, this audio may contain income or earnings representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. OPTAVIA makes no guarantee of financial success. Success with OPTAVIA results from successful sales efforts, which requires hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Please see the OPTAVIA income disclosure statement for statistics on actual earnings of coaches under the U.S. compensation plan, which differs from the international compensation plan. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
All right. So yes, so just like last time, congratulations. My name is Harold Prestenbach, and this is
Sam Prestenbach. Nice to meet you.
Yep, and tonight you're in for a treat of, you're gonna hear some stories tonight, inspiring stories of transformation. And for those of you who are on here and you're trying to take a look, I'm sure you're curious on what this is all about. Someone invited you here, someone cared enough to invite you here tonight. So we're just going to ask that you be open to the possibility of what could transform in your life.
Yes. So hi, I'm Sam Prestenbach.
Harold Prestenbach.
And we are independent certified OPTAVIA coaches, and we have been for 8 years now.
Ish.
I lose track sometimes because it's been an amazing journey, guys. We are parents to 4 beautiful, amazing children. And you know what? When we found OPTAVIA, we had 2. Whew, a lot has happened in feel like a very short amount of time. But you know what? It was these very children right here that made us take a step back and actually reevaluate some really important things in our life. It made us reevaluate our physical health, our mental health, but honestly, the biggest wake-up call came from looking at our financial health.
Yeah.
And just being honest that it wasn't in a place that we really wanted to be in order to serve our family in the way that we wanted to. You see, I felt at the time that like I was just kind of a hamster on a wheel. I'm a mom and I wanted to be a full-time mom, but I was also an entrepreneur here with my husband, and we owned a brick and mortar business at the time. And then I wanted to have more babies, and I also wanted to take care of myself. But quite honestly, I felt like I was flailing at everything, okay? And when I said yes to this program as a health coach, it was simply to help a few people. But when I realized that this was actually the vehicle that I was looking for, when I spent all this time on Google trying to see how I could work from home, I didn't want to accept this as an option. But once I finally did, and I started helping people, well, I came home. I was able to leave our brick and mortar business after being there for years. And I left this guy behind for a short amount of time. And what happened after, though, was not ever in my initial goals that I knew I wanted, right?
Right.
What happened?
You became a stay-at-home mom, and then I became a stay-at-home daddy. And, it's when we finally came, we came collectively dissatisfied with just getting by. And that was the moment that we said, what if? What if? Because we were skeptics in coming into everything. I'm cautiously skeptic, I guess you'd say. And we had our concepts, we had our mental positions, but it wasn't until we leaned in as clients, couldn't deny the results, started helping a few friends, and we said, man, this can really impact a lot of lives. So tonight, we're going to give you a brief overview of who we are as a company, and we're like-minded individuals, right? We're from all different trades, all different walks of life. We are physician-led by our fearless leader, Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson, who in my opinion is a visionary in his own right. And you talk about integrity. Forbes voted us as one of most trustworthy companies. And I can attest to that for sure.
Yeah.
So tonight you will hear some stories, and we are going to first talk about what we're up against. As worldwide statistics show, Our overweight, our obesity is an epidemic, and it is causing a lot of preventable illnesses, right? It's causing deaths. It's totally causing many issues in people's lives around the world. But also, if you look at an American statistic, we have an epidemic in our financial health or lack thereof as well.
Yeah, if you look at these numbers here, I think it's obvious we're not alone. But the reason why I think Harold and I didn't speak up sooner about the despair that we kind of felt in when it came to our finances is because we felt alone. And so if you're here and you're exploring more in your life, I want to tell you, you're not alone. And furthermore, it's okay to desire more in your life.
So how do we transform? How does all this come together? And these are the 4 components of our system. And sure, you can use one of these and get results. You can use 2 of these and get even better results. But if you truly want those predictable transformations that you hear us speak about, then you're going to want to utilize all 4 of these components. And you have the health coach.
You have your coach, you have the Habits of Health Transformational System, our amazing community, and then also these incredible fuelings that make getting healthy fun, convenient, and simple.
And you as a health coach is simply going to guide people to the resources. You don't have to be an expert by no means. You just have to be able to know where the information is, and you're going to have a support system that helps you do that. And then you're going to plug them into the Habits of Health Transformation System. That's what you're guiding them to for the most part.
Yep.
And then you have this amazing OPTAVIA community, and there's a ton of options out there for that to plug people into. And then last but not least, you have the amazing fuelings you're going to utilize to make it very simple to help transform people's bodies.
So we're so honored to bring on our friend, Megan Braud, who is going to share her story of transformation that started with health and then that went forward into helping other people get healthy and transforming her family's lives as well. So Megan, are you with us?
I am. Hi, good evening. Thank you, Sam and Harold. So my name is Megan Braud. I am an independent certified health coach with OPTAVIA, and it still sounds so amazing to hear myself say those words. Before my healthy lifestyle, before entering into this health journey, I felt very stuck in life. I was really just frustrated with wanting to know how to dream in life, but not understanding why to dream, because what if those dreams never could come true? I felt like I lived in a very mediocre life, and that this was just the extent of where I could go. I felt very limited in life. I have always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And I know that's obviously not something for every woman, but it was something that I felt very called to. And when I shared that with my husband when we were dating, I could see this look on his face of like, I want to give her the world, but I don't know how to give her that, you know? After getting married, I was struggling a lot with my health, with understanding how to love myself. And there was a moment where my husband was actually the one who encouraged me to join this health program, to reach out to my health coach and to start my journey towards optimal health. And it didn't take long before I started seeing amazing results physically, but also feeling equipped, feeling so empowered to be able to share this with other people. I felt confident that what I was doing was not only here to help me, but that it could actually help other people. And it could actually be something that could give this amazing level of life and fulfillment to other people, not just me. So I decided to pay it forward. We decided to become health coaches. And from the very beginning, this was something that my husband and I have done together. We don't necessarily have the same skills. He is very much a numbers person. I'm very much a social person. So I love chatting with people and hearing their stories. He loves crunching numbers and just sharing people and that type of inspiration. But it's something that we've been growing together from the very beginning. We have seen this as something that we can be successful with no matter what the month or the year brings for us. We've never allowed ourselves to go or to live over in life. We have always seen the dreams that we want and decided on it. We've never sat back and just said, these dreams are dreams that maybe we'll have later. But in fact, seen them as an opportunity for the next day, an opportunity for our next step. And one of the things that we have seen that we really want to fight for is that because this is something that other people can be fulfilled with and can experience joy with, we know that now we can set goals for ourselves. And one of the things that we have always set for ourselves is that we want not only me to be a stay-at-home mom, which I am. It didn't take long before I was able to come home, which was actually the same time we found out we were pregnant with twins. So that was pretty awesome. But also to bring my husband home. We are in a time where we are preparing for him to come home. My husband struggles with an eye disease and he sits at a computer all day. And my passion right now is that he gets to come home with me, that he gets to be a stay-at-home daddy as well, and that he gets to experience life to the fullest and not be hindered by this eye disease that he has. And that in this time, we are also preparing to bring him home in a new home so that we have this freedom to purchase a new home soon. Anytime that we had decided we wanted, hey, let's, add an addition to our family, it was never a question of could we afford another child. It's never been a question of can we afford this home. It's a question of, is this the time? Are we ready? And being able to ask that question instead of can we afford it is such a rewarding question to ask. So now we feel so accountable in our health journey, but also in our business journey, in our entrepreneur journey. We feel like leaders in our community, in our friendships with other people. And we're really proud of how we've been able to come to this.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's incredible, guys. You know what? Not everyone on here is going to have the same goals. Okay. And so what I hope you hear through that is the possibility of your goals becoming reality. I remember meeting Megan before she actually started coaching, and her goal was to be the stay-at-home mom. And I remember thinking, because I thought, how cool would that be? We were still so new. And here she is today, living out that dream. So beautiful.
So what we offer is the trilogy of optimal health. And through these stories, through ours, through Megan's, through the next story you're going to hear from Maria, you're going to hear how synergistically we utilize the healthy mind, body, and finances. And I'm going to ask you in the audience who's listening to this and maybe considering, maybe pondering what if and the possibility, grade your scale from a 1 to 10 on healthy mind. 10 being that I got it dialed in, I need no help in my healthy mind, to a 1 that maybe I need a little bit of help. And honestly, give yourself a score there. Healthy body, do the same thing, 1 to 10. 10, I got it dialed in, need no help, thank you. Healthy finances, same thing, 1 to 10. 10 being I am good, I can bless people around me along with myself, I want for nothing. And definitely take inventory of where you're at. And then I think you'll see or notice that OPTAVIA may be that vehicle that can help move you forward, because sometimes people have that healthy body or healthy finances, right?
And a lot of times when you're working on your healthy body, it opens up your brain to start becoming more curious about, well, if this feels so amazing, what is it going to feel like if I go conquer the next thing that could actually elevate my health even more? Because it's not just about the food we eat. Our health is about so much more. There's all the external factors that we don't know we should actually pay attention to.
Exactly. So what are some of the benefits, some of you are wondering, for becoming an OPTAVIA coach? I would say if there was one thing, and you didn't look at any of the other things, but to reinforce your decision to be healthy, because there's statistics out there that you're 5 times more likely to succeed and move forward in your health, body and mind, if you are paying it forward and helping others. Because as you're guiding others, you're reinforcing your goals. So if that was the only thing, I'd say it's worth the price of admission.
And when I started coaching, I loved so much, even as a retired personal trainer now, I loved so much what I was learning and the freedom I was gaining in my own health on all the different levels, that I knew instantly that if I were to coach it, even a few people, that I was going to be more likely to stay on the path that I wanted to stay on as well. And it worked. I would say it worked. It's fun and rewarding too, though, guys. When you wake up and your phone is filled with text from people reaching their goals, that's what you can wake up to, and that's what you can go to sleep to. I can honestly say I've never experienced anything like that in my life. It feels really good to help other people.
Absolutely. And, we all have to do something to pay for our shelter, pay for our transportation, to eat, to clothe ourselves. I can't think of a much more, most impactful thing to do than health coaching. And you talk about the fulfill your financial needs and your goals. There's no limit. There's no cap. You get paid on the level of impact that you make, at the level of
that you desire.
That you desire. Exactly. And there's no right or wrong. You get to choose. You don't have to ask for a day off. You don't have to ask for a raise. You can go create that by paying it forward and helping others. You are empowered of your own destiny, right?
And maybe you have the opportunity to leave a legacy. Maybe your opportunity is to shift the tide of what your family has typically thought health was, or how your family works. And also, not just that, not just your family, but how you can impact other families, other parents' children, by simply starting with your yes.
It's the ripple effect for sure. So we have a progressive growth model. And again, you get to choose. You'll come in as soon as you start assisting one person as an OPTAVIA coach, and you will be compensated according to helping those handful of people. If you desire, and what typically happens is people get excited, other people get to notice, and then you get to choose if you want to start helping them and guiding them to help other people as well. Then if you really want to make an impact, and it really becomes contagious as it did for us, right? You become a business leader, and you will be compensated as such for that as well.
Yeah, and that's where the fun really started for us.
Absolutely.
So now we have our friend Maria Fernandez on, and she's going to share her story of how she started also working on her health, but then those doors opened for her and she saw new possibilities for her and her children and other people. Maria, are you with us?
Hey guys, yes, I am here. Can you tell Sam and Harold coached me? Because all the things that they shared about leveling up your life and your family's life, that's my story. That is straight up it. I actually, when Sam asked me if I would share, I said, which version do you want? Because there's the version that I, tell in passing about how I coached for accountability, which is very much true. I know I would have gained my weight back by now if I hadn't coached other people. And then there's the version where I ought to be a save my hiney. And that's the version I'm going to tell you tonight, because I think as our world goes through some uncertain times, I think that's the version that will bless the most amount of people and will create the most breakthrough. So I was a stay-at-home mom because I thought that's what being a good mom was devoting all your time and attention to your family and nothing else. And I had put all my eggs in another person's basket, all my security, all my safety. And it turned out to be not the best idea. Unfortunately, there was disease and dysfunction in my marriage And I've soon realized that a good mom isn't necessarily one that's 100% devoted all the time to my family's needs, but rather, or rather devoted to, filling sippy cups, but rather devoted to their needs, and willing to do whatever it takes to provide safety and security for them. So I found myself one instance particular where I had a car full of suitcases and 2 kids in the back seat, and I was just ready to get my kids to a better life. And all my bank cards had been shut down. And I thought, never again will I put myself or my children at the mercy of dysfunction. And I didn't. I haven't since. In fact, I started to create security from a one stoplight little town. I went back and grew a global business. So when they say you can do this from anywhere, you literally can. And I fell in love with that security. And I made more and more of it. And 5 years later, when disease and dysfunction showed its ugly little head in my family again, I didn't have to go down with the ship. In fact, my kids and I were able to get our own place, and we love it. It's beautiful. They are now working with private tutors. They're signing up for summer camps. They are living a great life. And though the world is very, very gracious to single moms, I can honestly say we don't need it. I mean, we are in the position where in this crazy time in our world, I've been able to actually help other people because we are good and we have enough, and there's others that need resources more than I do. And for a single mom going through a divorce, that's probably not the case for everybody, I would assume, so I do feel extremely blessed by this mission and this gift. And anytime I go to share my story, I like to think about how can this bless you? What does this matter to you, the listener? And it was funny, I was walking through my living room the other day and Titanic was on. And it was that cheesy scene where Rose is like, I'll never let go. And then she does. And she lets go and she swims over to the lifeboat. And she didn't go down with the ship, but she had to let go of the thing. She had to let go in order to save herself. And my point in saying that is that you may have been riding on a ship of a job or an industry or other people that gave you your identity and that made you feel secure. And loyalty is a great thing and it's got its place, but there's times where we have to realize that we serve nobody by going down with the ship. And so just like Rose, take every last bit of energy that you have and you call for that lifeboat. And that lifeboat is OPTAVIA. And it has been a lifeboat for so many before you. And all you have to do is blow the whistle and call for your coach and say, save me next. And you don't have to go with the ship, go down with the ship. So thank you for letting me share.
Oh my gosh. Guys, some people on here right now need to send a message that say, save me next. You don't have to go down with the ship. There's opportunities in front of you if you choose to seek it. And I just love that we can serve parents and we can serve single parents and we can serve millennials and all kinds of varieties of people in reaching their goals. Thank you, Maria.
I love it.
So how does this work for coaches? Guys, if you haven't been picking up, but this is a relational model that is truly focused on optimal well-being, your well-being.
As you just heard.
Mm-hmm. And you're starting to probably understand what we mean when we say healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. Please put your favorite emoji in the comments if you're having the light bulb go off, or maybe a light bulb. You know what I love so much, having both been previous brick and mortar entrepreneurs and business owners, is that you are completely self-employed. You are independent. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And you get to decide here. No one is going to tell you what you should want for yourself and your family or your household. You get to put pen to paper and decide what your amazing life looks like through leaning into the vehicle that OPTAVIA can provide you. You get to decide, are you full-time? Are you part-time? We always say that the hours, they're flexible, but they're not optional. You are going to do some work here. But if you're going to do work, and to Harold's point earlier, earn money to keep a roof over your head, wouldn't you love to have power and control and the decision over how you're going to do that? You know, there's low startup, there's no operating cost, there's no inventory, there's no employee payroll. There's nothing I don't love about this. And this, to me, having known another way, is actually what true freedom is.
Yeah, and talk about flexible business. We actually aren't home. We're about 120 something miles north of our home, and we're celebrating our oldest, our 12-year-old's 12th birthday. And she wanted to kayak and be up in the mountains and some cooler weather. So we're actually hosting this call 120 miles from our home.
So you're saying it's a flexible business.
So I'm saying it's a flexible business, people. So, and there's no quotas. There's no monthly purchase required. And when I say no quotas, I mean, you get paid by what your performance is. So if you impact a few lives, great, you're going to get compensated according to that. If you impact a lot of lives, then you're gonna get compensated according to your efforts, right? And then there's the training and support, and I value it all, but you get that included with the mentorship here with this company.
You know, as Harold said, the support is amazing. When you start a business, typically, it usually doesn't come with a whole lot of training. It usually doesn't come with a whole lot of support. And in our case, none. We had to create the wheel. There was no wheel. We had to try and develop systems, and it was not fun for us. In fact, we had to be honest, we just weren't very good. And so utilizing OPTAVIA's systems has been the complete, again, freedom in our lives and many others' lives that they really enjoy. The fact that you know that you can obtain the knowledge you want to reach the goals that you have set for yourself is so powerful, and you truly get to learn as you earn.
Yeah, and it allows you that time you don't need spent on that because they've created it. You get to spend that time on doing what matters most with you. Maybe it's connecting with your kids and doing some things and creating experiences, right? Maybe it's connecting with your spouse and spending and creating experiences there. No more kids though, 4 kids, we're done. But I think you guys get my point.
Yes. So, you know, we believe in just-in-time training. And so you really will learn as you earn, and you get to decide from that very first client, you know, how many people you're going to help. And then your coach, you have a business coach and a mentorship team that's going to work alongside of you, that knows your goals and will also train you with what you need to reach those goals. And in that process, we call it team coaching. So you get to be an apprentice. You get to have your own business, but also take the knowledge and the success that other people have put into their practice. And you know that you can put it into practice and have similar success yourself.
Absolutely. And you work at your own pace. You know, I like to say, if you want to put your flip-flops on and kind of just stroll along and help a few people, hey, I think that's great. More the merrier. If you want to put your running shoes on and you want to sprint and you want to impact as many lives as possible to create that freedom in your life and possibly their life, hey, your mentorship's going to run with you and guide you in that direction as well. And then as far as the optional, they're optional, but I would say necessary if you're wanting to personally grow at a level to impact your life and other lives.
Yeah, and it's fun to get out of your bubble sometimes and be with people that desire similar things, and to go into this community physically and let them lift you up and train you. It's so powerful that we have that option.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that you probably heard some things that you were interested in that did pique your curiosity. My second guess is you want to know more. And so we hope that we have helped you turn a light bulb on, and that you're going to reach out to the individual that invited you here tonight and ask them to how you can possibly get started and join us in this mission of helping to get America healthy.
Yeah, and tonight's call was simply to pique your interest. If you are at just slightly curious of what's possible and how it works, that's not what tonight's call was, to dive into that individually, because you're going to have individual needs and desires. So I would encourage you, to Sam's point, reach out to the person who was kind enough to invite you here and cared enough to invite you here, and really dial in, what would this look like for you specifically? And you'll get the rest of your questions answered.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some independent OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. In addition, this audio may have contained income or earnings representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. OPTAVIA makes no guarantee of financial success. Success with OPTAVIA results from successful sales efforts, which requires hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Please see the OPTAVIA income disclosure statement for statistics on actual earnings of coaches under the U.S. compensation plan, which differs from the international compensation plan. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.